Hello, so this video is really to show how do you take the Passport project from GitHub and then load it into PyCharm and set it up so it can run. Okay, now again, this is I have not rehearsed on this, so if I have glitches during the video, you just have to bear with me. Okay, bear with me. Okay. One of the things I want to make sure, what I'm intend to do is just download the zip file, the entire project, and open it from PyCharm instead of doing this from the version control integration of the PyCharm. And there's a reason I will talk about in the class, but just for this video demo, I'm going to just do the download the zip file. Okay, so the way you do it now, I have sent my repo, the Passport project repo, through the Gmail, through my Gmail account. It should be in your email box. Please read that email. What you do is click on the link, or you can copy this down. Okay, it's github.com Plato AAA passport_project.git. So when you click on this, put in a GitHub the URL, and then you get to this. This is my repo, and then you click the green button, download the zip, right? So it's done, right? So now what I'll do is let's open it up. It's still downloading. Yeah, it's still finishing up. So let's just give a few minutes, okay? Man, the network is slow. I don't know what's going on. Sorry. Is it done? So anyway, assuming this is done, so let me look at this. Okay, see if it's there. Download. Yeah, it's there. Okay, so I don't know why the browser is not showing this. Okay, it's done. It just takes time. Sorry. Now, what I do in this case is I just copy the download to, or you can unzip them. So what is here is the, that's the zipped file, right? Notice here when you download from repo, it always add a dash master to the name. This is really because it's come from the master branch. That's the default selection. Okay, so what I'll do is in this case is I will unzip them. So I'll unzip. And now this is the source code, right? Okay, it's the entire project. Okay, so to make it easier, I mean, you can just leave them as it is, or put on the desktop. I'm gonna just copy them out, put in the desktop, so it's easier for me to work on. Again, this is the URL where the Passport project Git repo is located. Okay. And in the class, I already talked about this project. Seems to be, given what's in it, it seems to be humongous, because we're talking about after unzip, it's about 60 megabyte plus. And the reason is because all the plugins associated with the admin LTE, and I mean, not all of them are using it. As a matter of fact, we only use very few of them. But I left them in because for you to explore them, and maybe you want to use it as during this project, or down the road you may want to use it. Okay, so that's why the project itself is much smaller than this. Okay, so I have the project in my desktop, right? One thing I need to do is to rename it, because again, it's the GitHub added this to it. Okay, so it has dash master. I need to delete them just to make passport_project. Okay, so now I am in the PyCharm, and I'll do open, click the open, right? And then I will select, it's the Jack Wang is my user, and then there is a folder called desktop, right, in the Windows, and then that's the Passport project. Okay, so I will click on that, Okay, just ignore these because basically it says, because when I do this, there is no Git installed on this machine, and because I'm using somebody else's machine to do the demos, because like I said, I don't use Windows often. So anyway, it's not important. You can just ignore this. Okay, I'm not sure it happens in your environment. What I'm trying to say is, because you get the repo from GitHub, it uses Git as the version control engine, so you need to install Windows version of Git. Otherwise, you won't be able to do a seamless integration. In our case, we don't need it because we just load this with zip file, so zipped entire project. So it doesn't. You don't need this. I will talk about more in the class. Okay, so now I have all this, right? So this is loaded already. How do I get this to work in my environment? So here is what I do. So click on the file, click on the setting, right? And then click on the project passport, right? And click the project interpreter, okay? And I'm going to create a new virtual environment, meaning project interpreter, because right now by out of box when I do this there is none. But once you set it up, you can use that over again, okay? So what I do is I say add, right? I'll add one. So here is the virtual environment. Remember I said about sandbox, right? So I will say, okay, create a sandbox Python in this directory, venv. Okay. By the way, this is all assume your Python is already installed on your machine. I'm going to send you email and the link. There is a similar this demo on this, how to install Python and create a virtual environment, Python 3.8 on Windows machine. I'm also going to upload that too, so you can, at least you can take a look in case you wonder how to set up the Python on Windows. Okay. So anyway, this is already set up. I want to create a new environment called venv. That's the sandbox specifically for my my project. So to make it clear, I want to name this venv, stands for virtual environment, and passport project. So that way, because I might create more virtual environment, this way it makes it much more clearly distinct from other directory, because otherwise it gets very confused. Okay, so that's what I named for. You can just leave a venv as well, it doesn't matter, but I prefer this way to make it more stands out, so I don't get confused what this VM directory do. So now I click OK. It's going to take a while because again it's copying your standard system Python install into this venv_passport project, and that's how basically, again, the whole point is create a sandbox Python environment for our project to run. Okay. Alright, so now I have this set it up already, and so now there is a virtual environment on this, right? And here's the tricky part, because this is a Django project, so you want to add a Django we call facet with basically a profile to this project. So what you do is here again, click on the file, click on the setting where we were there before to create a virtual environment, but this time around you want to specify this framework, so the setting, the profile of that particular project unique to the project. PyCharm have those ability to integrate as well, so you want to specify that. In our case, we're using Django framework, so you click on the Django framework, right? And now here's where the tricky part is. You need to point the Django project directory to the passport underscore project. Notice here, this is the desktop, right? It's at the desktop. This is the project. Okay. If happen when you open it for whatever reason it's not there, you need to click here to go to the location to specify. Again, it's the project name. Okay. Don't draw down. It's the root project name. And then it also, you need to make sure, double check the settings.py file where it's located. So if don't just take as it is, you really need to make sure. My gut feeling is some of the errors are related to run is related to this. So where this is located, this is actually located inside of passport project. There is a folder called passport underscore project. That's the project source code, project level source code. Okay, let me open this for you so you can take a look. So this is the project, right? So we are in this level. Okay, at this level. So inside of it, there's another one directory identical to your project name. It's called passport project, which is really, it stores the project level variables, settings and functions. So you open there and you'll see settings.py. Okay, that's where you want to specify. So in just happened in my case, it's the IDE picked up already. But if it's not, you need to make sure. So I'll just show you. Okay, I click this, go to the project, right? I'm sorry, no. Go to the one level above the project, and you should see a directory same as the project. And then when you draw down, you'll see a settings.py. Okay, then you click on this. Now it's all set. That's all you need to do. Okay, and the manage.py, usually this fills it in for you. Once you fill these two, it will automatically pick up this for you. If it's not, then you also have to specify. Okay, it's in the project. It's the manage.py actually is located one level above. It's actually at your project root level, and there are a number of files like readme and so on and so forth. And there is one, it's with that. The manage.py also is part of that. It's not. This is where it is. Okay, it's at the project root directory level, at the same level as readme. Okay, so you click OK, and that's all it needs to do from a the initial setting perspective. Okay. However, though, I'm sorry. Hold on. I don't think did I do it right? Let me see. Yes, I did this. Okay. So now. So I talked about setting up the virtual environment. That's first. Second is setting up the PyCharm in terms of the profile for this particular project, which is Django. The last thing you need to do is set up the run. So if you click here, right, click the set up the configuration, click this button, or you can do this in here. Select the run and then edit configuration. Either way is the same. So here you need to set up a profile to run this project. So you click the plus sign and pick Django server, because that's what you're gonna run against, right? So in here, I like to, you can just leave it, but I like to make it a clarity passport. Okay, so the rest of them, you should just leave them alone. Just a second. Wait a minute. Where is something? It says the Django is not importable in the environment. It's okay. What this is asking, it's very interesting, this error, because I'll tell you why you're getting this error. Okay, so let me close this. I'll come back and revisit this. Notice here, and I actually went too fast. So notice here in the settings, we are using the project interpreter. We're using the sandbox, right? We're using the sandbox. However, notice here there is no Django framework installed at all. So that's why that error when you say you want to set up a run configuration. When you try to configure the run configuration, it does not know the virtual environment. Actually, it couldn't find the Django framework installed. So that's why the error is. So what we need to do is actually put the Django environment install component in here. Okay. Now how do we do this? Actually, it's. I mean, I could have done this. Click here, but the Python Django way to do this is actually run something called requirements.txt. This is something. It was generated. When I initially create a project, and that's something that needs to be done every time you're adding a new framework package into the project. Okay. Now, when you click on this in PyCharm, again, this is only for PyCharm. When you click on this, if your project is set up like I did here in the settings, specify the framework here, set to Python, Django. I'm sorry, to Django. Then it recognizes the requirements.txt. If I click here, install, it will automatically install for me. But the IDE sometimes doesn't work well for whatever reason, at least for me. So what I like to do usually is actually doing this in the command line, which a number of folks, I believe, already did it. Okay, so you click on the terminal, right? Then notice here, this tells me I'm in the I'm in the sandbox of VM Passport project. Okay, I'm not using the system Python. So the way you do this is what you need to do is to run a command, run the install command. So I have put together a quick how to set up environment text file so you can look at this. So it actually tells you what to do. So in this case, right, we want to install all the missing components based on the requirements.txt. Okay, so I'll just copy this down and you just run this. I mean, you can hand type it this. I just choose, you know. I'm sorry. Okay, so basically you want to do a pip install and r-r, and then you put the name of it. Doesn't have to be requirement.txt. It could be something else as long as the name is not specific. But it's a convention people use. You know, always use this requirements.txt. Okay, if I just hit enter, it will install all the required missing components for this project for me, and the versions are based on what's in the requirement specified in the requirements.txt file. Look at this. These are the versions. Okay, so it installs it. Okay, this is a very good example of the problem, and I was here. This works well on the Mac and works well on the Mac and Linux, but it doesn't work on the Windows because the Pillow is a graphic library, which on Windows doesn't work out well. So my thought on the suggestions for now is just remove this for now. Okay, let's just remove this for now. So at least can get this going. And I removed the line install Pillow so I can get the rest of stuff going. Okay, let me put this aside and I get it, and I'll come over do this. Just a second. What is cache? Wait a minute. See, this is where I'm getting. Okay, you know what? Let me just get this. Let's just delete the ones on Windows on the. These two are the ones that are not on the Windows, and I'm going to write down this because I needed to do some research on this, and I don't think because it's all, I believe it's all related to Pillow. It's the graphic library, so I want to just put this, put this aside, okay? And I use Pillow in the Pillow in the picture for employees, for user. It's really not needed for this project. I just made it much more difficult than it should. I don't know why this is taking much longer than. So it's downloading. Cannot run Git. Wow, why? Yeah, I don't understand this. Maybe my machine connectivity is bad, but you know what? I'm gonna stop the video here, and then I will post two separate videos, because that's much easier, because it's taking too long. You know, I don't want to waste the video footages on these waiting. So we're gonna pick up on when the whole install finishes, okay?